Hello there, welcome everyone. My name is Sushmita Prem and I'll be your host for this feature presentation. I've opened the webinar a couple of minutes early here so that all the waiting participants can join us. In the meantime, please make yourself comfortable and we'll start exactly on time. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Sushmita Prem, and I am a product expert here at Replicon. Welcome to this featured presentation about boosting your project costing and billing processes with accurate time tracking. I will be your host for today, and we will be taking a look at some of the very innovative features available in Replicon's costing and billing solutions that are going to bring your business digital agility. Welcome to Achieving Digital Agility and Growth for Your Business. Through the next 40 minutes or so, I will be taking you through a journey of discovery. And by the end of the session, I'm hoping that all the questions that you come in with have been answered. This will be the agenda we cover. We will quickly set the stage and learn about all the different ways to boost project costing and billing. I would also love to take you through a live demo of our platform so you get to see firsthand what are the features that are available. We will also see how some businesses similar to yours has implemented our solutions and what the impact was. Towards the end of the session, I will be taking any questions you may have. And yes, you can ask me anything regarding Replicon and our various solutions and how they can be adapted to your business. A couple of webinar housekeeping notes before we go ahead. This webinar is being recorded, so once it is over, you will be getting a copy of the session recording in your email. You will be on mute during the presentation, but if you have any questions on the solution, please do make a note of them in the Q&A box that you'll find at the bottom of the Zoom window or to the right of your Zoom window, and I will be happy to answer them during the Q&A session towards the end of the webinar. However, if there is something urgent that you feel needs my attention, like the audio or video not being available, feel free to interject and we can resolve that immediately. And without further ado, let's get started. Every project-based organization, no matter how organized, will have data silos since they manage core business processes with systems that don't really integrate well with each other. You will have data just sitting there waiting for someone to tap into its potential. What you want is a natural, seamless flow of data. But when there's no data communication happening, the results are project delays, billing inefficiencies, errors, and a lack of visibility. All this leads companies to not have an agile ability to react when issues arise. Before 2020, remotely working was a not so heard of setup that very few companies had implemented as a workplace model. Come 2020, and there was a sudden shift. Now, companies have started realizing the potential it holds, and hybrid work and work from anywhere workplace models are becoming the standard. Meet today's mobile workforce. They are digital natives and tech savvy and represent 60% of the workforce by 2024. The current workforce and generation between the age of 25 and 40 are well synced with the mobile ecosystem. The learning curve is practically a straight line, and most would prefer the smartphone as their primary source for updates and collaboration. In the hands of a professional, the sheer versatility of having a mobile platform puts it in a unique position to deliver maximum utility to your business. Digital agility is leading the way for organizations to adopt company wide transformations. You now have a need to enable the workforce with new digital tools, transform your operations such that your employees can connect seamlessly to the entire business ecosystem, and adopt cloud based solutions that are guaranteed to provide a speedy deployment, cost reduction, data security, and so much more. The mobile workforce can be supercharged by simply optimizing and transferring the capabilities of a clunkier digital workspace into a more streamlined version for their mobile devices. The traditional paradigm of a work dashboard must be re envisioned to make room for something a little bit more interactive and tactile. And this is why cloud storage and computing are an instant fit given the device's innate internet first design. We at Replicon believe that people's time is an asset. Making your business digitally agile requires automating your processes and leveraging people's time as an asset. Thus, by properly utilizing a system that instantly cuts down collaboration times and frequency of updates, every key decision can be optimized and tailored to meet constantly evolving targets and objectives. In a sense, one can weaponize time if the ecosystem is as close to real time as possible. A typical 500 strong business has around 1 million hours at your disposal. Look at how quickly those hours increase as your company grows. Most people don't know how that time is getting spent or if even it is getting registered as productive time. With time capture spread across payroll, HCM, ERP, CRM, ticketing, and many other solutions that you may have implemented in your business, there is no way to get a complete view of this data. As a result, there's a good chance that your organization lacks visibility into accurate project costs. This is because you don't have up to date, consistent, or detailed time data. As a result, your business runs into some of the most preventable problems. A good mobile first solution will give you the best of all worlds. And the answer lies in being on the cloud, which can unshackle your key departments from the crippling limitations of an on prem structure. Replicon Suite, powered by a unique time intelligent platform, will help you tackle these challenges. Project based organizations like yours face many challenges affecting project margins, costing, utilization, billing, profitability, and growth. If you look at the screen, you will see some of the most common challenges that our customers have come to us with. How many of these have you had to personally work around to get the job done? With Replicon, your costing and billing delays and errors, low resource utilization, reduced profitability are all things of the past. Our solutions make you future ready, be it for growth, prospects, or pipeline information. You don't want your leaders figuring out if the data is right. Know for sure that your data is accurate and reliable, and use that time to make strategic decisions. Replicon's time intelligence platform provides businesses with a single source of truth that they need for their time data. We help you tackle all project time tracking needs and is super configurable to meet all your business requirements. Our platform scales seamlessly from small to large organizations and supports your global needs. Replicon is mobile first and built with the changing nature of your workforce in mind. The platform is built on the latest and greatest that tech can provide for you to help your business manage time in the most efficient manner. The most exciting part of this is you can easily connect our platform with your existing ecosystem using our web services APIs, getting time, cost, pay, and even billing data to the backend systems of your liking. As you're probably familiar with, Replicon has a comprehensive suite to help every customer manage their employee time, projects and jobs, costing, billing, compliance, people, and overall profitability in an easy to use manner. Imagine there was some way to streamline the costing and billing processes and get rid of all those inefficiencies and errors and time theft. And what if you could automate everything, all while ensuring compliance so you can spend more time actually analyzing the data, driving better decisions, and not just spending expensive resource time adding the numbers up. Replicon combines all your data into one program that's easy for employees and supervisors to use. Imagine being able to increase your profits without adding headcount or other costs. That is now a reality with Replicon. Replicon project time tracking solutions have all the capabilities needed to solve your challenges around project tracking, estimates versus actuals tracking, maximizing billable hours, and resource utilization. We are able to power your project and resource forecasting needs. And the best part of the platform is that it is global, scalable, mobile first, and can plug and play with your ecosystem. These are important capabilities in the current context where businesses are looking at agile digital transformation with no business disruption to gear up for the new normal. In today's webinar, these are some of the things that I would love to show you. It is always better to see these amazing features in action. So why don't we jump into a demo and you can see our powerful platform for yourself. What you're looking at is the view a project manager will have when signing into the system. You will have an overview on all of your project activities happening right on this page. Once you set up the structure and you're capturing 100% of the time, you now have the opportunity to monitor progress, understand your labor costs, and manage utilization in real time. The project list screen we are looking at here is going to give us a dashboard of ongoing project hours, labor costs, and even your billables or represented real time. Keep in mind that you'll also be able to update your view to reflect anything that is important to you. Like all our list screens in the system, this one is configurable as well. So users can determine which columns are visible. Gives them a chance to customize the screen to only view what is most important to them. Perhaps you'd like to be able to compare actuals versus estimates across all of the hours, the cost, as well as the billables. You can choose those from the options available, click on Set Table Settings, and the data becomes available for your analysis in the main page. You can also prioritize some of your engagements, like finding where the most amount of labor hours are getting spent. Replicon can also easily harvest all time and project information from external sources such as Salesforce, SAP, Oracle, JDE, Microsoft Projects, Dynamics 365, and more to be the centralized and secure time reporting platform across your organization. Our web services-based API provides the ability to plug and play with your existing applications. These integrations can be made bidirectional, such that any data that you enter in Replicon can be exported to these platforms, as well as data from these platforms can be fed into ours. What this means is once you decide to implement our solutions, you do not start from scratch and start entering data manually. Any existing data that you may have in any other system can be imported into ours, saving you time and getting you started immediately. Replicon can also help you understand project pipeline information. This page gives you an overview of all the projects that are currently in flight and also all the ones that are currently tentative. We can now take a closer look at one of these sample projects to see how project structure is handled in Replicon. Now, if something here piques your interest and you want to drill down into it, you simply have to click on the project name and then you're presented immediately with a visual representation in an ongoing timeline, either quarterly, monthly, weekly, or daily, of how you are tracking towards your estimated costs and hours. Not only does Replicon provide you with a holistic view of time information, but also project data as well. You want to be able to have a centralized overview of all project information across the system. So details such as hours, labor costs, and billables are displayed here in an easy to read summary. This is broken out throughout the entire duration of this project, which in this case has been from June to November of 2020. This is very helpful in identifying things like did we go over or under any one of those estimates that we had defined. We can see in this example that we are in a very good position billing wise compared to the cost incurred by the company for this project. This is important since it allows you to accurately quote future customers. Now, when we focus on capturing actuals, one of the first things we need to ensure is that we have a flexible structure set up to capture the time and progress. This is where the project structure comes in. Work breakdown structures and tasks are things that our time solutions can easily accommodate in our system. Your project managers can go in here and define any task that they require with reference to the project. If you have a front-end system such as an ERP platform or a project management system like Microsoft Projects, you can import your work breakdown structures into our system from here. This tab also allows you to identify which task has been taking the maximum number of hours for completion. In this example, that would be the design task. Most importantly, this provides proactive visibility. Are you getting close to exceeding your estimates? We'll talk about some examples of that when users enter their time into the system. Projects are a lot more than a drop-down that the user is going to select on their timesheet. In addition to the simple or complex task structures that you are going to be able to define and assign within the product, the system is also going to support the capture of other project-related data. Any metrics that you need to track on a task level can be configured here. Whether it's the type of activity that's being performed, task level estimates for cost and effort, associated labor rates, and even the ability to extend these data elements to include other user-defined attributes that you can add to the system yourself. All the data that we are seeing here is easily imported from your existing ERP or accounting system, as well as other spreadsheets that you may have already in use within your organization. Here's the best part. All the information regarding your project is straightforward and configurable, not only at the task level, but at the overall project level as well. If you need to set up who the project manager needs to be, or perhaps you need to assign this project to various business units, locations, or regional offices, all of this can be done from the project info page. In the event you need to be able to charge the project to multiple clients, or perhaps the same project is underway for multiple clients, you can charge the labor hours and costs in a shared services configuration. You can choose what percentage each client is to be billed at. Some of the other metrics that we can also help you understand are things like billable versus non-billable time. Keep in mind that the actual billing type itself is configurable as well. Not only do we support time and materials on an hourly basis, but we are also aware that this may consist of various scenarios such as monthly or daily flat amounts. We can support all of that in our system and ultimately help you understand whether or not you or your margins are impacted by all of the labor costs that you're incurring against how you are building it. More importantly, even be able to recognize that as revenue. The total contract value helps in assessing things like what your margins are going to be. You can also upload the statement of work for your project here in this project info page. Keep in mind that a lot of the information that I'm describing can be imported from your financial platform. It does not need to be something that you need to define in Replicon necessarily. Once the project is defined, you are going to be able to determine the visibility of the project. You do this by assigning a team to work on it. You can assign a group, you can assign an individual person, you can even expose the project to everyone for those shared corporate projects that everybody may participate on, or that you just simply don't know who's going to work on the project at any given point in time. That degree of configurability prevents data entry errors. It hides people and projects that don't need to particularly interact and ensure that people aren't given access to projects that aren't relevant and speeds the time capture process. On a project level, you have the option to assign which among your team members should be able to work on this particular project. So you obviously want to make sure that before you assign resources to work on projects, that they are available. You also want to make sure that the resources that you're assigning have the relevant skill set against the requirements of the project. So to give us a very quick example, I can actually state them. Say, for example, I require 2 SAP analysts for this particular project. I can add them as a placeholder here. On this particular engagement, I can break out their time across each one of these roles on the basis of the percentage of their scheduled hours or the actual hours itself. And once you decide which person has the relevant skill set to be your placeholder, you can swap out the placeholder assignment that you created earlier with the correct team member. You also have the option to choose specific skill sets for your team members, which will help you decide whether your team members' skills match the project. So if you click on the user's name, you have the option and to view as well as configure what their skills are and what their level of proficiency is. What we were looking at earlier was the resource availability at a project level. You also have the option to view the total resource availability at an organizational level. If I'd like to be able to identify exactly what it is that each of my resources are doing on a monthly basis, this is where I can find that. Now, a lot of times your projects are going to come in under budget, but you still don't have a P&L that reflects cost recovery, and that doesn't make sense. That's because you're not recurring the cost of your underutilized resources. Resourcing within Replicon is going to address this by providing a visual interface that is going to quickly identify potentially underutilized resources. Color coding here will communicate to you your active versus tentative projects and even time off. In this interface, the white space is not good. Those are the users that don't have allocations to their full capacity. And here you can get a monthly, a weekly, or a daily metric of how each user is allocated to projects now and into the future. For those users that are fully allocated, it's going to give you visibility into details of their current allocation, so you know when users become available for future projects. This is going to let you manage future commitments, knowing when users are going to become available. In this example, you can see all the projects each of these users are assigned to, what is the time frame that they're working on them, and also the number of hours that they're investing into each of these projects. All of this information is consolidated for you in the resourcing page. Once the resourcing is complete, now comes the money part. Let's go back to the project that we were looking at earlier, the Next-Gen ERP Deployment 1, and see how the project expenses are managed by Replicon. Even if any of the resources are incurring any expenses against any of these projects, the project managers can help understand that as well. This could consist of travel expenses or meal reimbursements. You can have a tight control over what expense types are available in this case, because this is a billable project. Your estimates to actuals comparison really isn't limited to hours or costs. Fixed project costs, as you have defined them through expenses, are also tracked real time, and these are presented to project managers and other privileged users for you to review real time. You can also set up individual billing rates for your projects. These can be based on the project rate, the user's rate, as well as the role rate. In this example, we can see that the project billing rate of this engagement has been encouraging the most amount of billables. And in the event if any one of these rates need to change on an ongoing basis, we can also support that as well. Say if your architects need to start charging a premium of 175 Canadian dollars starting today, these are things that we can take into account. Keep in mind that we are a global platform, so our ability to be able to support multiple time zones, currencies, languages, and holiday calendars ensure that every user that signs into our system will have their own unique view of the world depending on the regional line settings that you have defined. In case you have multiple projects that can be clustered under one umbrella, you have a feature called as programs. This really helps you understand things against a larger business perspective. The same analytics are available here, but now the system has rolled those up based on practices and programs and defined by the projects that you've chosen to include. Again, this is all real time as the users are entering data in from their desktops and their mobile devices. It's showing up here for up-to-date reporting for all your programs and practices. And in this particular case, now that I've identified all of these programs and the hours, the labor costs, and the billables that come with it. And if I were to take a closer look at one of these sample ones, I can now see in a similar fashion to what we saw earlier for our projects, all of the hours, the labor costs, and the billables associated with the program. It is also giving you a bird's eye view of the projects within the practice program and what their status is looking like. We now saw how your resources will get assigned to projects and how the project managers can have a really centralized view across all project information within the system. The next component is having the end users enter their time against those activities. Now, keep in mind that when users log into our system, we want to make the concept of time capture as simple as possible. What you're looking at is the Replicon punch entry page. When it is time for a user to log into work, all they have to do is click on clock in, and once it is time for them to log out of work, all they have to do is click on clock out. You have the option to capture your user's location as well as a photograph. You can also log in from a variety of methods, such as from the web, mobile, or our award-winning application, the Cloud Clock. I will be giving a demo of how our solutions work from mobile later on during our session. The best part about this is the punch entries you make are real-time for all your devices. We are also going to provide you with a flexible timesheet interface for your users to interact with for time capture. Every element of this timesheet is configurable at the user or group level. Usually, timesheets can be messy. You've got data scattered across a bunch of spreadsheets, multiple homegrown systems, not to mention the faxes, scanned documents, and of course, all the sticky notes and vacations, overtime, sick days. It is a lot of complexity. Here's how Replicon's timesheets work. Employees can enter their start and stop times or total hours and even specify what they are working on during those times. If we go further down the timesheet, we see different features that are available. You can see a custom notice that has been set up for the user to see. You can also see an attestation that the user has to accept before submitting the timesheet. You can even see the progress status of each of these tasks. You see the hours that the user is working is bifurcated to show how many hours went into overtime, regular time, as well as double time. This time distribution grid is where the hours that the users punch in can be distributed among activities or projects. Users can quickly identify project names or codes based on search settings. Keep in mind that this is not going to present a list of all of the projects that the user and the organization might have active, but only the projects that the user is specifically assigned to work on. So this vastly reduces the total project count list. Say if this user wants to enter time against a project that we were looking at earlier, the next gen ERP deployment one, all they have to do is choose it from the drop-down list, enter their hours against a specific task they like, and they can even choose whether the hours are billable or non-billable based on the user's choice. Flexibility of this interface is going to encourage data capture, but the system's also going to provide validation to improve on data accuracy. These are Replicon's validation checks that makes sure that the user has to meet certain criteria when entering time information. For example, say a user misses to enter the project details towards a time entry, or misses to enter the type of billing rate to be used, or for that matter, overshot the estimated hours for a particular task. Our validation checks will ensure that these errors are caught immediately. As you can see, the different types of validation that we have in the system really helps us ensure that all of these things are caught proactively rather than it being a reactive adjustment that needs to be corrected. You can also configure warnings, which can act as a notifier for your team members to recheck the time entries that they have made. These warnings aren't just for the user. Those messages are visual cues to every approver in the approval path once this gets submitted. They can even prevent submission altogether. Now I can rectify the mistakes that I've made in this timesheet and then submit it for approval, which then reaches my supervisor. As soon as the hours are entered, they are visible throughout the product for reporting purposes. But to have these hours approved, the system is going to drive the user's behavior to ensure that happens. You're going to do so through notifications. The supervisor will be notified via email, mobile, or both that one of his team members has submitted a timesheet for their approval. Now, in addition to project time, you also have entries here for non-project related work as well as time off. Support for these entries and the ability to treat them differently from a timesheet and a reporting perspective is really critical when you're gathering 100% of the team hours to use towards a utilization calculation and tie into overall costs. With the calendar feature, employees can ask for time off and even view their colleagues' requests, cutting down on scheduling conflicts. The format makes it easy to monitor employees' time off, paid for vacation or sick leave, so there's no reason to call HR or run time-consuming reports. And with the calendar feed synchronized to Outlook, Google, or Apple calendars, nothing slips through the cracks. All the requests, either manually or automatically submitted, are going to their approvers and will show up in their team tab. To keep everyone on the same page, TeamView allows supervisors to review their employees' timesheets, pending time of requests, and even expense reports. You can track your employees' time to maximize their efficiency. And because everything is stored in the cloud, you get ease of use complete visibility, and no more spreadsheets or complex software. These are some of the timesheets and time of bookings and even an expense sheet that have been submitted and is now awaiting action from their supervisor. Please also note that there is no one type of timesheet or type of template that is static in the system. There are multiple configurable templates which can be set up by us, which best suits your requirement. For example, if we are to take a look at one of our other users' timesheet here as an example, you can see the format that is much different from the earlier one that we saw and only captures their in and out time and also displays their payroll summary. Now, in a fast moving industry, not all users will have the time to log into a web browser to enter their timings or for supervisors to make approvals for that matter. This is where Replicon's mobile app comes in handy. Users aren't tied to a desktop. They can access the same timesheets with the same fields all through their mobile device, the one that's with them all the time. This mobile device is going to allow capture, it's going to allow approvals in the field, and it can even apply that same validation and notification capabilities that you have in the browser anytime, anywhere. We are available both on Android as well as iOS. I'll now be changing the share settings so that you get a view of our mobile app in action. Now, say you want to punch in from your mobile. All you have to do is click on clock in the same way you would do from the web browser. You can also clock out the exact same way. The timesheet entries are also updated automatically with reference to your punches. You can also display your timesheet from the mobile app directly, and this is reducing your need to log into a computer each time you need to look at something that you're in need of. If you'd like, you can also apply for time offs from the mobile app directly. These are some of the time offs that I have requested to my supervisor. Now, some have been approved. You can see that one is yet to be approved and is pending action from the supervisor. I can also see the number of hours that are available for me to take as time off in the future. I can also even see the holidays that are observed in my company directly from the mobile app. If you like, you can also submit expense sheets from your mobile app directly. These are some of the historical expense sheets that I've submitted and got approved by my supervisor. If I'd like to submit one now, I just need to click on the plus option available at the top right corner, enter all the relevant information and click on save. This will then show up in your main view as waiting for approval, and then a copy of it will be sent to your supervisor for action from their end. Now, if you're a supervisor, you have an entire dashboard dedicated to your team. You can see how the team is doing as a whole time entry wise, as well as see what all requests are pending your approval. You can also set up geofences. Geofences are nothing but registered areas from where you can set your employees to punch in from. So if one of them tries to punch in from a location outside the registered area, their punch becomes invalidated. It's often too easy for employees to punch in or punch out for their colleagues, and this costs the company money. Meanwhile, the pressure to contain costs and improve productivity never really goes away. Now, we all trust our employees to enter time accurately, but if you have a large team, it is important to make sure that all of them are given the necessary tools to enter correct data. That is why we have options to capture their photographs. You can capture their geolocation, leaving no room for body punches. For your employees working from home also, these features can be made to use sort of like an honesty check. And if you have a crew for whom the supervisor themselves need to enter time entries for, that can also be done from the mobile app directly. This is a sample crew that I've set up for myself where I am the supervisor, and now on their behalf, I can enter time entries for them, I can enter punches for them, and all of this becomes updated for their dashboards as well. And Replicon sources data anytime, anywhere, thanks to this mobile interface. The platform includes the same capture flexibility on this, as well as also allowing the project managers to keep track of outstanding approvals from their team. As for requests that are pending your approval, simply click on the corresponding request and choose approve or reject. You can also provide comments if required. If there are multiple requests waiting for action from your end, you can even do a batch approval if necessary. Now, if your company is very big, manually approving each person's timesheet may be time consuming. There are many options available for you with respect to approval methods, be it automatic, supervisor, project manager, all up to your discretion. By creating an interconnected digital ecosystem, ROI can be boosted while also energizing a latent digital workforce within your team. I'm just going to switch my screen back here to the web browser that we were looking at earlier. There are some other features available within Replicon that really strengthens our conversation on billing and costing. Replicon provides you with a time workbench for costing purposes. The workbench provides you with data corresponding to all the time entries made by your employees. Extracting all this data to backend systems is easy because we have built-in capabilities to filter, flag, and download all the relevant information to be used in your ERP systems like SAP, Oracle, JDE, Microsoft Dynamics, as well as many others. We can now see how the billing part of our solution is taken care of. You as a billing manager will be able to see a full summary of all the statuses that your clients are in. How much is invoiced, what is still in a draft status, what is the amount that has already been issued. All of this can be viewed from the billing summary page. And when it is time to invoice your clients, it is a very straightforward process. You can have a complete overview of all of your invoices broken out. Keep in mind that Replicon does not need to send invoices directly from our system, but we do support the ability to do so. In the event you'd like Replicon to interface with your billing or invoicing platforms, such as QuickBooks or SAP, we can certainly help you in the configuration. But if you do need to raise invoices directly from the system, you can do so. Say, for example, this particular invoice. Any payment that's now been made to this invoice will be tracked within your financial system. And if you'd like, you can also have a bidirectional integration setup that can then notify Replicon when this particular invoice has been paid off. And this is really how we are able to understand overall cash flow within the organization. You're able to see what invoices are outstanding, which ones have been issued and not yet paid. Now, the final part of our demo is just talking a little bit about how we can report on this data and then also get it out for extraction. And in the event you'd like to be able to drill down into some of these specifics, we have some reportings that is available for you that is already set up here that is going to be helpful. Replicon's powerful reporting engine is putting the power of configurable reports in the hands of your end users with full security around data access and the ability to schedule, share, and export to products of your choosing. These are some of the default report templates available within the system. You also have the option to create one from scratch based on your requirement. If I take a closer look at one of these reports, for example, I would like to be able to compare the actual versus estimates against those labor costs and billing forecasts. And I'd like to be able to understand how much I've progressed across each one of my projects that are in flight right now. And now we can completely understand how close are we towards the completion status. And if any of my margins are impacted, I'd like to be able to get alerted of that. And this is exactly what these reports help with. If you would like to have any additional details displayed in your report, those columns can also be added here. You are having the option to add all these built-in options for your columns that are already predefined. You also have the option to set up customized columns that will give you the relevant information that you need. And when you're happy with how the report is looking, you can then extract that information out of our system in CSV format, PDF format. You can print it and you can share it internally or externally. If you'd like to schedule a report run, that can also be done from here. You can choose the recurrence of the report and to whom all a copy of the report needs to go to. So these are the options that are available for you to choose as recurrence. And from this list of resources, you can choose to whom all a copy of the report needs to go to. All of this data is available for historical reporting as well, and that is going to be invaluable to you when it comes to audits. It's also going to benefit you as you put together future project efforts and costs. Not only do you have the historical actuals towards your projects, but you also have the planned amount to compare to previous estimates. We even have some embedded dashboards within our system with a good in-depth analysis. You have configurable graphs and charts that can get you information displayed regarding your billings, profitability, anything and everything that you find the most relevant for your business. Data that you enter into the system becomes available to you for analysis later on from our dashboards. Graphical dashboards also allows you to digest vast amounts of information effortlessly, and drill down capabilities allow you to quickly isolate key areas. But keep in mind, integrations are a key cornerstone of how Replicon solutions work, and that is true for reporting and analytics as well. You can also have an integration with reporting tools like Tableau or Power BI if you need advanced reporting capabilities. I would like to show you a sample one where we have integrated our data with the popular business analytics tool Tableau. These dashboards will be the control center for your project-based business. Now, in a typical project environment, Hours, costs, and utilization are all associated with project time, but there's no way to account for non-project hours or time off or other types of overhead. So as a result, all your project hours, labor costing, and utilization tend to be on the inaccurate side of things. Now, Replicon's unique ability to capture all of your hours gives you a full picture of your resource time. You can easily get a sense of what your resource hours amount to and how many of those were project time versus non-project time. A large portion of non-project time has an impact on productivity, and it is a red flag that needs immediate attention in this case. Now, here's a view of the company's utilization. Typically, companies want to maintain their utilization over 70%, and in this example at 57%, these resources definitely have some red headroom for additional projects. You can see that for 102 users, there are about 17 projects active, and you can also see all the facts and figures like how much of the percentage of these users' time is going into non-project time as well as non-billable project time, both of which do not go towards the profitability of the business. If you have to click on any one of these graphs, you can view also extra information regarding the stats as well. For example, 11% of the non-project time being registered is equating to a whopping 24,585 hours. The graph also redirects you to the Utilization Analyzer tab, which gives an in-depth analysis of how the resourcing looks like. Bifurcated by departments, you can see how the utilization each of the department members looks like. You can see how many users are there in each of the departments, as well as how many projects they are working on. You can also see which project department is encouraging the most amount of billables, and in this case, that would be the SaaS team. You can also see a complex data set here of how all the individual users are registering time as well, and how much of that is going into billable as well as non-billable hours. Now, if we are to go back to the previous page, as a business leader, you get to see which projects are consuming the most hours and quickly look for a runaway project that needs immediate attention. The light blue part of the graph denotes non-billable project hours. So if a particular project is adding up a lot of non-billable hours with very little billing happening, that is a cause for concern. You should now have some understanding of how the system can drive these metrics, because we are going to capture 100% of your resource time in an intuitive interface that isn't cumbersome for your employees. I hope this demo has given you a fair idea of all the capabilities that our solutions hold and how those can bring digital agility to your business. You now saw how Replicon supports project tracking aligned with the way you do business. Whether you have 10 employees or 1 million employees, Replicon software is stretchable to fit your requirement and easily deploy the system no matter how small or large it is. However, often you need to enter time or hours, whether punching in and out on the web or from a mobile device. We provide the technology. There's no need to purchase additional custom software or hardware, so you don't have to depend on the IT department. You definitely don't need those old-fashioned clocking systems, and it's easy to use for employees and supervisors alike. We even let you try the software before you buy. Our platform is leveraged by 1.5 million active users globally every day. Replicon can solve any of your needs around managing time, costs, people, projects, and profits. If you have mobile deskless workers, you have already seen how comprehensive our mobile app is as well, so that no matter where your employees are, they are able to work for you using Replicon solutions. Doesn't matter if they're from multiple locations, speak multiple languages, and follow multiple currency systems or time zones. Replicon makes sure that this beautiful diversity in people is catered to by us. The ROI from moving to Replicon is significant. We have reduced revenue leakages, improved utilization, streamlined workflows, and reduced compliance risks with accounting standards. Let me show you a specific customer story. Our first example is a consulting firm with over 300 employees that used a mix of manual spreadsheets and homegrown systems. They couldn't track and manage their cash flows. Billing was a nightmare without the ability to manage their variable rates. Their profitability was impacted by delayed billing. With Replicon, they achieved accurate and consistent data, improved resource management, and had faster and more accurate billing. They achieved a single source of truth for all employee time and got proactive information to make the right business decisions. In this example, we will look at a computer software company. This use case is specific to project costing and utilization that uses data for R&D tax credits. Their on-premises system did not scale as their company grew and changed, and their outdated practices led to inaccurate data across the board. After implementing Replicon, they were able to accurately track all of their time, which then in turn increased efficiency and made it easier to track the time they used towards R&D tax credit purposes. They achieved 100% accuracy in R&D project hours, 5 to 10% increase in resource utilization, and improved forecasting for new projects. Replicon's comprehensive suite is your answer to managing employee time, projects and jobs, costing, billing, compliance, people, and overall profitability in an easy to use manner. Get started now. Go to www.replicon.com to enroll for a free trial. You can see for yourself which solution works the best for you and your business.